we're going to talk about the architecture just before, and this is just to show you what happened, when we issue a lease and transaction connected to SAP. So this is good to know, what would be the behind the scenes procedure. So we have really two modes of operating. And the two modes that we have, it's the SAP integrated mode and the disconnected mode. And we have several places that this definition that we have here has an impact. For example, when you update or load your master data or your configuration in disconnected mode, the only way to do it would be through the Excel templates that we provide. When you're integrated with SAP, you may have some information that is going to be generated through the Excel templates, but some other information would be synchronized from SAP. Also, when it comes to get the asset creation in SAP, it's going to be created in Nakisa. It's really an asset generated internally. The right of use asset, lives just in the Nakisa NLA system. The postings that all the journals that we generate in a disconnected mode, they stay in internal in our internal posting tables. And on the other hand, in an SAP integrated environment, we have it in both places. We have it internally posted and then externally posted, and those should be in sync. Okay, so the posting can be online real time or through our SAP posting bot technology that takes all the internal journals internally posted and take them into SAP. In a disconnected environment, everything we have is going to be internal. Now, I will describe what is the situation here. Okay, so the intention of having disconnected mode is that we may have several ERP systems, not just from SAP, it could be Oracle, Dynamics, any other legacy system, mainframe systems, so on and so forth. So we would have all those systems working for the corporation from transactional perspective, and we have the Nakisa, this administration system, to comply with the different standards that we may have in our markets. So the NLA system, it's really a transactional system that is working with this model, and we all know this. We have an MLA MLA is just a grouping of contracts that we will need to make them comply or not with the different standards. Every single contract will have, list components where we have the terms and conditions and the rent tables, if you will. And once we have this structure authorized and defined in the system, we will generate activation groups that will inherit all the information from the contract and the lease component. And at this level, we will get all the inception values, and we will get to issue all the transactions to comply with IFRS, including reassessments, new terms, lease ends, closing contracts, and stuff, until we get the unit level, which is the asset creation. So in order for us to get all this going, we will need to configure our master data and our the company codes and systems and connections and things. So everything that is going to be supporting this structure in our contracts, in order for us to get all the accounting transactions that will go into our GL systems, will be defined through Excel. We will be populated and updated through Excel based on information that we have in our ERP systems. So we will have, or we have templates to configure all this information here, like accounting standards, company codes, asset classes, accounting determination, exchange rate, so on and so forth. So once we have everything in place here, we will be able to enter our contracts and generate all the different journals that we will have in NLA to be posted in our general ledger system, like, retirements, transfers, accruals, uh, changes, charges, capitalizations, depreciation. That information is going to flow into Excel, from NLA, in our Excel files to be posted in our general ledger systems. So that would be the disconnected mode. We will need to make sure pretty much in a manual way that we will have, synchronize our accounting information in our ERPs or GL systems and our NLA system. So the thing is that if we wanted to configure our master data from our ERP systems, we would need Excel templates. Usually what we bring over from our ERP systems are like GL accounts, vendors and partners, cost centers, asset classes, depreciation areas, and some other information that we will need to get our contracts in place and make them comply with the standards we deal with in our regions. So that information will be that information will be populated again through Excel templates in here. Okay. So as far as outputs, okay, the outputs, the result of the transactions at inceptions to generate accruals, interest, payments, depreciation, any type of reassessment, or even lease ends, we will generate all those transactions, and we will get to see those transactions in our consolidated transaction report. That somehow we will have to get this information that we have here, including all the type of transaction, debit, credits, currencies, amounts, and things, to be posted in our GL by the extraction of this type of report and reformatting that information in the proper formats required by our GL systems in our different ERP systems. So to conclude in what a disconnected mode is that we have two different areas of working, like our transactional area, operational area in our corporation, compliance with accounting standards in NLA, and the way to get information back and forth from the ERPs into our NLA solution is going to be through Excel, as we can see it here. Okay, so any questions so far? Just let me know, or type your questions, and Kata, please let me know if there's any questions on disconnected mode. Now let's get to SAP integrated mode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
No questions so far.
Okay. So in integrated mode, the difference here is that all the information that I need in my master data configuration, in my configuration to make this structure work, is either sometimes it comes, or some specific information that is needed comes from Excel, but the other information is going to come through the synchronization of data from the SAP master data into our Nakisa master data. And all the results from the different transactions that we have in NLA, again, inceptions, reassessments, accruals, depreciations, lease ends, and so on and so forth, they will come into SAP FI, or our GL system in SAP through a natural connection that we use, we take advantage of the definition of the BAPIs, or these are protocols. For those of you that are not technical, it doesn't really matter. This is just software protocols to make Nakisa and SAP talk in a natural way. That means that any transaction that I would like to post in NLA or Nakisa, I can take it into SAP, do it online real time, and get the result back from SAP GL into Nakisa. And this will work for, let's say, SAP ECC, or the traditional ERP from SAP, or SAP S/4HANA, which is the traditional SAP working on in-memory technology. Okay, so being said that the synchronization works like this. Every single data that I need to synchronize from SAP, like chart of depreciation, units of measures, profit centers, periodic periods, GL accounts, currency, so on and so forth, is going to be synchronized directly. Is going to be read and synchronized directly from SAP into our tables. No need to Excel preparations, upload, and anything like that. This information will come through the software protocols that we use. Those belong to SAP, by the way, the BAPIs and RFC calls. We reuse them as the, regular BAPIs that we have in SAP, or SAP's got, and we reuse them to get that information into our master data. Same thing, when we post our transactions in our FI or our GL or asset accounting system as well, and generate assets, we do it through BAPIs or RFC calls. And we reuse all the natural BAPIs that we have in SAP to get this information going from Nakisa into SAP, and from SAP back into Nakisa. This is a list that you can get to see this list of BAPIs in our documentation, but that's the way we do it. Okay, so same thing for, the different accounting transactions that we have. We reuse BAPIs in SAP, and we will, run them, if you will, to take the information back and forth.